Peoples of the worldwide federated internet, what is good? I'm going to say something again for all you smart theologians out there. I've said in a previous video, you probably notice going through the book of Exodus that there's things I'm purposely not really going in depth with, things that definitely pertain to the New Testament, definitely pertain to the Lord Jesus Christ. These studies aren't like a well in-depth study, and I wanted to make that known. And there's a reason I'm doing this. So this is my viewpoint, right? I'm not promised tomorrow, and my statement is not because I believe I have all this time on earth. I have no idea how long God is going to allow me to live. I'm thankful for the days God has given me. My goal is, Lord willing, to go on video and on my podcast, go through the Bible as sort of like a brief summary, not blowing through, but going over some things, not really dealing too much with typologies. I did that more in the book of Genesis, and I realized I kind of wanted to flow through the Old Testament, like I said, Lord willing. And if God allows, if God gives me time, come back to some of these other things and spend a little more time on these items. And I say that because I know there's a lot of you smart Bible theologians out there that listen, and I go past things and you probably think, wait a minute, he should have spent some more time on this, or he should have spent some more time on that. I accept that criticism, but I'm just explaining to you my goal, Lord willing. So anyway, without further ado, the book of Exodus chapter 17 and verse 1. Let's get into this. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. So here it is. They're still in the wilderness. They come to this place. They have no water. What do you think their response will be? Now let's consider, before reading on, which I mean, you see the verses on screen so you can read on. But before doing that, let's consider what happened in the last chapter. Consider the fact that this is all fresh, like all these things happen are fresh. So God provides sustenance for them. They think they came out here to starve. They murmur and complain to Moses. Moses goes before God. God says, look, this is what you need to tell the people. This is what's getting ready to happen. I will definitely provide. But they are still bugging out. Verse 2. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses and said, give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? You know what this makes me think as well? You ever hear the people that make the comment, well, if pretty much what they allude to, that if God spoke to them directly, or if they saw something super miraculous, then they would believe. And I don't think that's true. I think some of the people who question God, even if they were to see something definitely 100% miraculous that no doubt came from God, I think these same people would still question God no matter what. And I don't think it would change anything. You see that there's something within us, right? This, I guess you could call it a spirit of rebellion. I hate using terms like that. When I use terms like that, and I think about the religiosity of the term. Now, when I say religiosity, I always want to make this clear. I'm not talking about true religion as defined by the Bible. I'm talking about religiosity as far as how the world defines this. But I think there's this air of rebellion in us where we know what's right, and yet we still go our own way and do whatever. And you can find a good synopsis, so to speak, of this inward battle in the book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 3. And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Moses and said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? This is almost verbatim the same thing they said about starving in the wilderness. Just insert starving over thirst. This just happened. They just saw God deliver them from what they perceived to be as starvation. Literally just saw this. So now I want you to think again about what God said about proving them, right? Who is he proving the children of Israel to? Again, as I said, it wasn't to God. God is doing things to show the children of Israel what's in them. What's the purpose of this? I think the purpose of this was for them to humble themselves before God, to see. This is, as I read these things, this is becoming evidently clear, to see you're not better than anybody else. That's not why you're God's people. You are the people God chose to show the world something. So what they should have done was humble themselves and saw, we are no better than the pagans around us. And we really need to humble ourselves and fall before God and worship him and show the world the works of the true and living God, the Most High God of heaven and earth. But you know how we do. People, we get peoply sometimes. And where's that? Verse 4. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto these people? They be almost ready to stone me. So Moses goes before God and he's like, God, these people are ready to stone me. I have no idea what to do. How do I deal with these people? And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people and take with thee of the elders of Israel and thy rod wherewith thou smotest the river. Take in thine hand and go. So God's starting to give him some instruction. All right, you see that rod? Go ahead, take that rod, get up and go. Behold, I will stand before thee upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. Now, again, I understand what this is a picture of, but for sake of the purpose of my study going through the Old Testament right now, this is something that, Lord willing, I'm going to come back to. But man, when I read this, I am really ashamed. Now, you might say to yourself, wait, what are you talking about? How are you ashamed when you read this? As I told you before, I see myself in the things that Israel is doing. I see how God has done many things in my life. Sometimes when I hear atheists make their points, I want to say something sometime that I know wouldn't really be accepted well, but it's just the truth, right? I've seen God do so many things in my own life. Specific prayers answered. Right now, here's the thing. After so many specific prayers answered, there's only so much luck, quote unquote, you could have. This is not coincidence. And when I say specific, I mean specific down to the minute detail. Prayers that have been answered. I mean, like clockwork, it has happened over and over again. But here's the thing. I would like to say that sometime to atheists, and I know they wouldn't necessarily accept that, but it's just the facts. Here's the thing. I know these things have happened. I've seen these things in my life. And yet situations arise, and the first thing I do is I go to doubt. I'm like, man, here we go. This is getting ready to happen. That's getting ready to happen. I'm getting ready to happen. Now, guaranteed, I'm not guaranteeing that everything in life works out. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, has God not done enough in my life for me to relax and go, yo, I've seen you work so many times. No matter what the outcome, you're in charge. And whatever it is you're doing and you're working, it's for my good, whether I can see that or not. So I just need to sit back and stop bugging out and trust what you're doing. That's what Israel should have done. And they didn't. And again, this is not, like I said, this is not me chiding them, because I see these decisions played out in my own life. So if I was here at this time, I would have been one of the people going to Moses like, yo, what's good? You got us out here getting ready to thirst to death. Like, what is really good? Yeah. All right. So God is going to provide him water. He explained to Moses what he's to do in verse 6, verse 7. And he called the name of the place Massa and Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? You have been delivered from Egypt. You have seen the plagues that God brought to Egypt and spared you from. You walk through an entire sea on dry land, and God destroyed the chariots of Pharaoh without you lifting a finger. God has fed you manna from heaven. You didn't have to hunt. You didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to do anything for it. God provided it. And you didn't starve in the wilderness. You've seen all this, and you get to this point, and your question is God among us or not? Again, looking at my own self, this is a warning to me. How much does God have to do for you to realize that God is present with you? And if God is present with you, he is your rock, as stated in the book of Psalms. He is your salvation, and what is there to fear? That doesn't mean you don't pay attention. That doesn't mean you don't make preparations, but ultimately your trust is in God. You know, many times God told the children of Israel, are you trusting these chariots? No, you shouldn't. Are you trusting these horses and these weapons? No, you shouldn't. But did he tell them to get rid of those things? No. But what he was telling them is that is not where your trust should lie. I can use those things or use something else to help you, but that is not where your trust should lie. Let's see. And in verse 8, then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. What's the significance here? What's the significance of Amalek showing up right when the children of Israel are in this spot of questioning whether God is here or not? Now, and all of these things, to an onlooker without paying attention, it may seem like, yo, this is crazy. They're questioning God. They're going through all of these things. Now, Amalek rises against them. What I see the mercy of God, because I see things happening and God continually delivering them. No matter how much the children of Israel murmur, no matter how much they complain, no matter how much they go back on the things that God is trying to show them, God, time and time and time again, is showing himself faithful to the children of Israel. When I look at the Bible, when I look at history, when I look at things, I don't have the same viewpoint as some people. And I've said this before. Some people look at these things and they falsely charge God. How could God do this? How could God do this? What they miss looking through this whole thing, we violated God's commandment. God created us for a purpose. We went our own way, and God continually shows himself faithful time and time again, has mercy time and time again. But that's not the thing that many people focus on when they read these Bible accounts, even though they should. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.